You know how many children survive? Just a few survive.
Hitler and the Nazis planned to murder every Jewish child in Europe.
Kids. We were kids.
I was quite a cookie. I think I was a wild little girl.
Children don't die. Old people die.
As many as 1.5 million children perished in the Holocaust. But Maxwell, Helen, and Rose survived.
There were 7 dead bodies, red blood on the snow.
2 guards grabbed my brother and took him away.
And these holes were made by bullets.
He was only, I think, 5 years old.
Why do people kill little children? How can it be possible?
Today, they are among the last survivors and have lived a lifetime with unanswered questions.
I have no idea what happened to the baby. It would be nice to know what happened.
So where did you separate from your dad?
Right here, they took them away with trucks. Where could they have taken them?
We found Reva's brother.
Oh, what are you telling me here?
75 years after the end of the Second World War, these children who survived the Holocaust are about to make some remarkable discoveries.
You mean it's a possibility? Shut up.
Oh my God, this is like a dream.
She must have been holding my little brother in her arms in the gas chambers and thinking that she cheated them of one. Me. She cheated Hitler of a child.
I came here to tell you a story that really happened. I kept this story of mine hidden for 60 years. I didn't tell it to anybody. I didn't want to relive the horror of my life. My name is Maxwell Smart. I was born in 1930 in Poland, Buchach. From 8,000 Jews in Buchach, only 100 survived. Only 100. I am one of 100.
2 years into World War II, in June 1941, the Nazis invade Soviet-occupied eastern Poland and rapidly advance towards Maxwell's home city. At this point, the Nazis are systematically rounding up and persecuting Jews. Within days of the Nazi occupation of Buchach, Maxwell's father is taken away and never seen again. And then, in a series of roundups in early 1943, 12-year-old Maxwell, his mother, and little sister are forced towards waiting trucks.
I'm walking with my mother, my sister's in her arms. She says, "You have to run away." What do you mean, run away? Where am I going to run? You're my mother. You're supposed to protect me. I can't protect you. I can't help you. Please, she said, walk away from the truck. All of a sudden, I am not in the circle of the trucks. I'm on the bridge, walking towards freedom. And I never saw my mother, my sister again.
Where do you think the trucks went with your mother and your sister?
What are they going to do with children? They can't go to labor camps. They went to Federal Hill. I didn't hear shooting because it's probably done later on. I don't know if the graves were dug or the graves were prepared. I have no idea. I have no answers. Because nobody could tell me anything about it. Nobody was there.
Evidence of what happened to Maxwell's mother and sister can be found on a wooded hill on the edge of Buchach. There are very few records of the murders that took place here nearly 80 years ago. But now, a team of investigators is trying to piece together the crime. And they have found a witness. Someone who saw it with their own eyes.
Ці скорше самі жінки, а потім самі мужчини.
А жінки, коли їх привели, то були самі жінки чи, може, з дітьми?
Дітьми,
They were with children.
вільми. Привели їх до якої ями, і яма була викопана, і лізуть поєдні в яму, і не стріляють.
We have been working for now 15 years on the so-called Holocaust by bullets by interviewing what we call the bystanders, so non-Jewish witnesses of the shooting of the Jews here.
Patrice and his team at Yahad and Unum identify and investigate Holocaust execution sites. And it's the testimonies of women like Regina that reveal the true horror.
А одна пішла в яму і до нього промовила: «Та ви думаєте, що як ви нас поб'єте, то ви виграєте? Ви все одно програєте». Це до німця. І він їх кулю дав.
She was already in the pit, she told that, and after that she was shot.
Jews were brought to woods and ravines and killed one by one in mass shootings. This wasn't the Holocaust of camps and gas chambers. This was the Holocaust by bullets.
And the children were also shot, or they were just thrown alive?
Дітей взяли окремо. І також його окремо з дітьми поставили.
What we try to do going in the field is to understand how the killers implement the crime. And on the sites, what we do is kind of rebuilding the crime scenes.
Could this be the place where Maxwell's mother and sister were brought, just hours after he escaped? Patrice is doing a forensic examination of the site, searching for any actual physical evidence of the massacres.
Я не вижу, надо смотреть, который год. Год надо смотреть. Может, у кого глаза получше, а ну, Акс.
Это какого года? So it's a German cartridge from 39. I think like in 15 minutes we found about 4 cartridges, so it's not that difficult to find evidence.
Знаешь, что это такое зеркальце? Зеркальце.
So we found before cartridges, and now we just found a mirror. So we believe it was something that belonged to one of the victims, because we believe that they were shooting from here, and the Jews were down below. I think that the sister of Maxwell and his mother were killed here. We have like at least 3 or 4 mass graves here, where you have at least 5,000 people from Buchach, and the bodies are still here.
So far, Patrice and his team have documented more than 2,800 such sites all over Eastern Europe.
That's the story of my mother. She refused to take me with her. And by refusing, I live today.
Young Maxwell escapes the mass killings on Fedor Hill. But with nowhere else to turn, he ends up in these forests. A 12-year-old boy with no family, alone, in hiding.
About 6 months, I was by myself, alone in the woods. My clothing was gone, ripped to pieces. My shoes were gone. I used racks on my feet, tied up with strings. I was lying in a hole I became like a sort of animal, a human animal. In my whole life, I can never, till today, forget the misery of being alone.
I think I was a wild little girl. Didn't sit still for a minute. Had very long, curly blonde hair. My mother used to put them in braids. But, you know, me running around, the braids went loose and I went loose. My name was Róża Handelsman as a child, and I was born in Lublin, Poland in 1929, May the 27th. Well, that gets me to be of age. A lot of my days were spent on the sidewalks, playing hopscotch. My mother didn't like it too much. All my shoes went to hopscotch. Oh gosh, I must have been quite a cookie.
Rose grew up on Grodzka Street, in the once vibrant Jewish quarter of Lublin. 80 years later, she's returning to her family home with her granddaughters.
And I remember those are the windows of our home. That's where we lived, and that's where my father worked. And now it's such a fancy place, beautiful hotel. Oh my God.
Did people live up there like there was more?
Oh yes, the people lived there. I remember they all used to come to our apartment to talk to my mother because my mother liked politics and they knew what was happening in Germany. I guess my mother was said if we had the money, we would run from here. But we didn't have the money to do that. So we didn't run, so we stayed.
Rose has a single photograph that shows her entire family. Out of 21 relatives, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins, only 2 would survive.
It brings back those memories of my childhood that you never want to forget, really. I had a little brother. His name was Henrik. Oh, I used to carry him around. I loved him so much. My father was a tailor. What a gentle soul he was. He really was. And my mother was quite a bright woman. I always thought they're gonna keep me safe because parents are supposed to keep the children safe.
In a scene repeated countless times across Poland, the Nazis rounded up Rose, her mother, father, and brothers, together with thousands of other Jews, in this market square outside of Lublin.
Oh my God.
It's the first time Rose has been back.
Is that place?
Since October 14th, 1942.
There were so many people here. Oh my God, there were just people carrying their bags. And then they started dividing us. Men and women here, children and women here. And then when they divided, came trucks and they took the men away. I'm afraid I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I don't know, the nightmares might come back. I had a lot of them, many years. I remember some nightmares that I was running from the Germans, but I was running with my children. Like, it never goes away completely. It's always there.
So where did you separate from your dad? Right
Here,
here.
right here. They took them away with trucks.
Did you have a chance to say bye to him?
No, I don't remember.
Did you think you were going to see him again?
No.
Where did you guys think you were going? Where did
I don't know. They were settling us like they always said. They were settling you.
This is the last place Rose and her mother would ever see her father.
They took my father away with the truck. And somebody that told me they took him to Majdanek, the concentration camp Majdanek.
This is the only snippet of information Rose has ever had about what happened to her father. Now she wants to find out if it's true.
I used to have long discussions with God. I used to tell him, look at me, I say. I don't wash myself for months. I say, I drink water with my dirty hand like an animal. Why did you create me to be a Jew?
In 1943, after his mother and sister are murdered by the Nazis, 12-year-old Maxwell flees to this forest and digs himself a hole to hide in. Today, investigators are looking for that hiding place.
Maxwell was hiding not far away from Žny. Bogdan, a local hunter, will show us the way to bunkers he has encountered several times when he was hunting in this forest.
I didn't build this hole. It was just a natural rock hanging over from the mountain. I dug it a little bit out to make it a little bit deeper. I covered the front with some branches, not to be too much visible. And that was my place of hiding.
Bogdan leads Patrice to a hiding place he believes dates back to World War II.
А вот это камень, да? Или no? Камень. It fits with the description of the mountain and the fact that the entrance was quite close to the ground. It could have been dug with shovel, done with very basic tools, like Maxwell described.
One day, I heard a noise, not a familiar noise. All of a sudden, I see a little boy walking in the woods. I walk out, I stop him. I asked him, are you Jewish? He says, yes. And I told him, I'm Jewish too. Who are you? What are you doing here? I asked him. And he tells me the story, what happened. He is in hiding about a year and a half. One day his mother disappeared. She went to find food. She never came back. His father went out to find food, and he never came back. I'm walking, he says, for 2 days. And I'm so happy, he says, I found you. He was a good-looking kid, mind you. Smart. He was excellent in arithmetic. His name was Janek. I was the first time really happy. I didn't care if he would stay in the woods for a year or two. I had a friend.
These forests were by no means safe. Ukrainian police and peasants hunted Jews here in return for sugar and vodka from the Nazis. For Patrice and his team, this entire area is a crime scene that needs to be thoroughly swept.
40-й год. Здесь уже четко видно.
Yeah, the year of production is 40, so it's wartime. So a German cartridge from 1940. We have traces of the perpetrators. It's clear that there were some shootings here, so it could be shooting of Jews who were hiding here. The killers didn't expect that people would come back and look for the evidence of that crime.
Janek was my friend, but he didn't survive the war. I still feel responsible because of me, Janek died.
We played hopscotch or hide and seek and whatever. Kids, we were kids. My full name is Chaya Verblunskaite. I was born in Lithuania. I was born in the city that was the capital city at those days, by the name of Kaunas or Kovno.
Chaya, who now calls herself Helen, was just 10 when the Nazis occupied her city of Kovno and forced the entire Jewish population into an enclosed district called a ghetto. Subjected to overcrowding, hunger, and disease, Jews were forced into slave labor, and children forbidden from going to school. Helen lived in the ghetto for 3 years with her parents and little brother.
Little Abraham Avremele in Yiddish. I was the one who took a look after him when the ghetto started.
These rare photos are of Jewish children in the Kovno ghetto. The Nazis called them useless eaters, too young to work. They were the future of the Jewish race. They were the enemy.
I was here probably between 10 and 11. My biggest regret of this photo is that I didn't have my brother at my side at that time. That would have been a perfect thing.
Why would that have been perfect?
Because there is no picture of my brother. There's nothing that he ever existed.
On the morning of March 27th, 1944, just after most of the Jewish parents had left for forced labor, trucks full of soldiers rolled into the Kovno ghetto. They had orders to seize all the children. They called it a Kinderaktion.
There are trucks, there are dogs, there are soldiers with guns. You think we're the worst enemies. And people are told to get on the truck, and people go. Mothers with kids. And I am standing with my brother's back to me, and I hear them, let them go. The dog jumped on my wrist and bit me. The blood spurted out, and inadvertently, I let him go. 2 guards came and grabbed my brother and took him away. One thing, and I never let this go, my brother was turning his head when he was dragged away. His head was looking whether I was following. I wouldn't be sitting here if I would be following.
For some reason, the Nazis did not take Helen that day, but they seized around 1,300 children. Loud music was played to drown out the screams. They were never seen again. Helen has not been back to Lithuania since 1944. She has vowed never to return. But there are unanswered questions that she has lived with for 75 years.
There are places that I would have liked to visit, but I just couldn't make myself go. But my grandson, Andrew, took it upon himself to represent me the places where I dare not go.
The guilt about losing her brother is on my grandmother's shoulders, and it has been since the day he was taken. And I think that last look of him being taken away has been on her mind, and it will be for the rest of her life. I think we need to know where he was taken because That, I think, for her might be not closure, but at least she'd be able to know what happened for sure.
The only reason why he was killed was because he was a little Jewish boy. I have no idea where my little brother Abraham was taken to die.
I was talking to God. He listened to me. Maybe he did send me, Janek.
Late 1943, two friends, Maxwell and Janek, were hiding in the woods outside Buchach. They were being hunted by local Ukrainians employed by the Nazis to find Jews.
One day, we heard shooting, we heard yelling, we heard commotion. When it got quiet, I said, Janek, should we see what happened? I don't know, he says. I'm scared. I don't want to go anyplace. I says, Janek, we have to go and take a look. At least let's peek. Okay, maybe 500 feet away from our bunker, we saw a sight unforgettable. There were 7 bodies in one place. Red blood on the snow. We go into the first body, dead. The second body, dead. We checked all the bodies, all dead people. We look around, and across the river, I see a body lying. I say, Janek, there's somebody across. She's moving. Yeah. Janek, we have to go over and see. No, he says, I cannot go over and see. I'm not going to go into the cold water. But Janek, this person is alive. I grab Janek by his hand and I pull him into the cold water. I don't want to go. We cross the river outside. It's freezing. We come over to the body. The body wasn't moving. The body was a mother holding a baby in her arm. The mother was dead. She was shot in the back. And the baby started to move. I grab the baby, I take Janek and we go to the other side. As soon as I touch the baby starts yelling and crying. And we went into the bunker and she's crying. So what do we do, Janek? You see, he says, you see. He was shivering from the cold. He was wet. He was started to cry.
2 young boys have saved a baby, but its crying puts them in danger of discovery. Maxwell finds a Jewish family hiding nearby. Miraculously, one of the women is the baby's aunt. She takes her niece, and Maxwell never sees her or the child again. Back in the bunker, Maxwell's friend Janek has fallen ill.
Janek was sick and he didn't feel good because I pulled him into that water. I figure maybe he will revive. I don't know. Janek is not moving. He is dead. He died. He was my life. He was my person that I needed till today. I cannot forget Janek. Janek, it's a name. It's a name and a boy who stayed with me for 6 months. What else is there about him?
Whom did I lose? My brother, little Abraham, Avramele. Friends that will never grow up and become anything they wanted. I feel very isolated because I am here and they're not.
Helen's little brother Avram was taken from her arms in a Kinderaktion in the Kovno ghetto in 1944. Now her grandson Andrew has returned to Lithuania to find out what happened. He wants to know if little Avram could have been brought here. The 9th fort outside Kaunas. On these fields, thousands and thousands of Jews were murdered.
When Kaunas ghetto was established in 1941, there were 30,000 of Kaunas Jews and the Jews of Kaunas region. And survived only 500 of them.
500?
About 500 in 1944. Most, they were killed here during these 3 years.
So how did the Nazis decide who was coming to the 9th fort?
Because, Nazis used Jewish population forced labor, strong people who can work, and the older ones, and also children, they were selected to be killed.
A handful of disturbing photographs of the killing operations here exist, and very few documents detailing the murders. The only physical evidence of the victims are a few artifacts pulled out of the ground, including a toy bucket and a child's shoe.
It's really difficult to think that Nazis killed young children, they killed babies. It's really difficult. You can see now that wall. Also, you see these holes, and these holes were made by bullets. And probably a lot of people, they were
standing right
they were
here.
standing right here. The executors stood over there. That view probably was the last one for a lot of people.
That's really haunting to be standing
yes.
here, because over 70 years ago, I would have been next. So if Kinderaktion victims were brought to the 9th fort, where would they have been killed?
It's a possibility that they were killed here.
At this wall?
Yeah.
It just strikes me that I'm standing here right now, and it could have been the place where little Abraham was killed. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest, in thinking about how he was only, I think, 5 years old, maybe 6, but I think he was 5. And he was brought here without his sister, without his parents, and marched into this fort by himself and just shot to death just because he was not useful to the Nazis. I can't. I don't know.
More than 90% of Jewish children were killed in Nazi-occupied Europe. Avram was one of them. But his sister's story of survival had only just begun.
For years, I was wondering, why me? What did I do to deserve to be alive? This is with me for the rest of my life.
And I remember my father always singing while he was working. I still remember, like Kinderaktion, schöne Kinderaktion. He used to sing that song always while he was working. That's the memory of my father.
Rose's father was taken away on a truck in 1942. And Rose believes he may have been brought here, to Majdanek. Built in the suburbs of Lublin, Majdanek could hold up to 45,000 Polish and Jewish prisoners at a time. Rose wants to know if her father was one of them, and she hopes Jakub, a researcher here, can give her the information she needs.
That's why I'm here. I want to know anything what happened in that time.
Jeśli pani tato trafił w połowie maja, w połowie października 1942 roku na Majdanek, warunki wtedy panujące w obozie były tragiczne.
Tragiczne.
W każdym z takich baraków, w zasadzie w takich momentach szczytowych, kiedy było duże natężenie transportów, mieszkało nawet po kilkaset osób. To bardzo...
So they must have slept one on top of the other practically.
Majdanek functioned as part of Operation Reinhardt, the secret Nazi plan to eliminate Poland's Jews and to profit from their murder by seizing their valuables and personal possessions. It became a major storage and sorting depot for these looted goods.
Mój ojciec był krawcem. To może pan myśli, że może jeszcze coś pracował gdzieś jako krawiec, czy nie?
Jest to możliwe, że pani tato pracował jako krawiec w jednym z baraków. Był to prawdopodobnie jeden barak wydzielony dla krawców, którzy reperowali, może nie tyle co szyli, ale bardziej reperowali ubrania, które zostały między innymi Żydom zrabowane.
Tailors were useful to the Nazis. Not only did they mend these looted clothes destined for Germany, but they were forced to search for valuables hidden in the linings and seams. His skills as a tailor may have kept Rose's father alive.
Laser Handelsman was his name.
Yeah, we
don't know anything.
Any.
So you don't have any documents that my father was here at any time?
We don't have any documents.
By November 1943, Operation Reinhardt had come to an end with the death of nearly 2 million Polish Jews. With no more loot to be seized, the workers at Majdanek were no longer needed.
All the Jews which were prisoners at the Majdanek were killed during the action Erntefest. Executed.
Jews were shot one by one in large pits at the perimeter of the camp. Music was played through loudspeakers to mask the noise. The slaughter of more than 18,000 was completed in just one day.
These are all shoes, all the way down. Shoes.
Oh my God. This is unbelievable. Oh my God.
It is believed that this photograph shows the thousands of Jewish inmates at Majdanek marching to their death. Rose's father may have been one of them. But what happened to her mother and brothers?
She looked me straight in the face. I want you to understand I was 13 years old at the time. And she said, they're taking us to our death. That was her conclusion.
We knew about the concentration camp gas chambers. We knew that there is such a thing.
4 months after Helen's little brother Avram was snatched from her arms in the Kinderaktion, the Nazis closed the Kovno ghetto. Along with thousands of other Jews, Helen and her parents were loaded into cattle cars and deported west.
We didn't know where we were going or what was happening to us. Finally, it stopped, and we were able to get ourselves out of the train. But that is when I lost my father.
Helen's father was sent to Dachau concentration camp and never seen again. Helen and her mother were sent to Stutthof. She was just 11 years old when she arrived. She was taken with her mother into a room full of pipes and shower heads.
My mother and I were standing there waiting, and we are both naked, standing, holding each other. And I remember shower heads over our head. And after a few minutes, water came out. So here I am sitting, talking to you. I can't explain this, but I was there for the taking.
According to Nazi procedure, as an 11-year-old child, Helen should have been killed in this gas chamber. So how did she cheat death when thousands of others did not? Helen's grandson, Andrew, has come to meet Danuta, a researcher at the Stutthof archives, to find out.
This is the original card of
To jest
hers.
oryginalny dokument.
That's the original card.
And there's her number, so 43971. I wonder if she remembers that was her number. So it says here that she was born in 1927, but I know that wasn't her birthday.
Okay.
I know that she was born 5 years later. So why did they do that to her age?
They decided to change the dates because if someone was too young and they add some years, it was high possibility that this person would be able to survive in the camp.
So my grandmother's reporting that she's 17, but actually she's just 11 or 12. So if she was unlucky enough to look younger than she was, she may have been sent right to her death. This little birthday change here may have been one of the many things, but one of the most important parts of her story that kept her alive.
Helen and her mother were deemed fit for work and shipped out to Stutthof's network of subcamps.
I was doing heavy labor. We were digging trenches every single day from morning till night. I mean, we had a dark life, I can assure you. But that was around the time that I met Reva and her mother, Mrs. Rubin. Reva was from the same ghetto as I was, the Kovno ghetto. We were the same age, we had the same history. We both had little brothers and we would chat about them. We had each other, she had me and I had her. We become as close as a family can be.
In the 75 years since Helen was at Stutthof, she has never forgotten her friend Reva, another little girl from her hometown, caught up in the horrors of the Holocaust.
My grandmother talks about a friend that she made in the subcamp, and her name was Reva. And she always wondered to know more information about her. I think her last name is Rubin.
Zachowały się też dokumenty Rubin Rivy. Podobna karta personalna jak w przypadku babci.
They came in on the same day, didn't they?
Yes, they were together. They were together.
And both from Kaunas. Do you see this? She signed her name.
Yeah.
It looks like a kid's signature that just learned how to write cursive writing. My gosh. And she was just a kid. These are the cards of two best friends that went through the Holocaust together. And today, this is as close as it can get to having Reva back for my grandmother.
I made a friend, but unfortunately, this friend did not survive.
I still feel responsible. If I wouldn't save the baby, Janek would have been alive with me today.
Maxwell wants to know if there is any other living person who remembers his friend Janek. So he's flying out to the one place where it might just be possible to find out.
This is my destination to go to Israel and to clear my conscience, at least in one part.
He has come to the Hall of Names at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. Researchers here have taken on a colossal task, attempting to name every single Jewish victim of the Holocaust.
We are in the Hall of Names.
Yeah.
What you see here are pages of testimony and photographs of victims of the Holocaust.
These binders hold names of close to 5 million victims identified by family members.
In each one, there are 300 pages of testimony.
300 pages?
Yes.
We still don't know the names of more than 1 million victims, many of them children. Yad Vashem is on a mission to identify them all. And their database offers an incredible resource for Maxwell to find out more about Janek and his family.
During the Holocaust, I was hiding with a boy. I know his name is Janek, this is for sure.
Where were you at the time? In what place?
In the Buchach area, maybe 15 miles away.
Okay, so let's try to see if we can find something. We have Janek and we'll try Buchach.
Aaron's son.
So we have a Yaakov Janek.
Janek.
And he was from the
also
around
from
Buchach. Okay, so let's see what we get here. So we'll go into details. Okay, this is what we call a page of testimony. Is a declaration of somebody who knew the victim, and they register here all the information they know about the victim. For Janek Arenberg, he was born in Zlochov, it's in the area, used to live in Buchach.
Buchach, right.
And he, according to this, he was born in 1931.
1931. Yeah, I remember I was older than him. Huh?
What do you think about the photograph?
I'm telling you, he looked like that. The eyes tell me that this is Janek.
The expression of the eyes.
Yeah, the expression. You know why? He always looked at me sad. Very sad. He's a sad kid.
Well, he had a sad story.
Yeah.
Haunted for nearly 80 years by the death of his friend, Maxwell has finally found a testimony filed by someone who knew Janek.
So what we have here is Shimon Shiferis, who was the nephew of this person.
Oh, he's the uncle of Janek.
Here we have an address in Israel, in Givatayim.
There is an address.
Yes.
So this makes sense. Yes. I would like to speak to this man.
Okay, so we'll try to do it.
You said your friend Reva died. Were you there?
Oh, yes. I was there when Reva died, and I was lying right beside her when she passed away.
Helen and her best friend Reva had managed to survive Stutthof work camps until the very last stages of the war. In January 1945, as the Soviet army advanced on Poland, the Nazis began evacuating the camps. They either forced the surviving Jews to walk to Germany in what became known as death marches, or they were executed in their camps. Helen, Reva, and their mothers were selected for immediate death.
We were told to come in and lie down on the bare floor. And we were told not to move, and that very same afternoon, we were injected with some substance that to this day I have no idea what it was. I was thinking that this is the end of us, that this is finished. We are not surviving anymore.
But Helen did survive. So what was in those injections? Her grandson Andrew is in Stutthof to see if he can find out.
So my grandmother remembers being injected with something. Do you have any idea what that could have been?
It was the phenol injection, which was used to kill the people, to kill the prisoners. And there was a story happened in the sub-camp where your grandmother was. The doctor, she was the Hungarian doctor, and she was also the prisoner. She was forced by the assessment to make an injection. But she gave them the smaller dose of the injection, so that she was hoping that they would be able to survive.
Really?
Yes.
The full dose of the poison didn't go into them.
That's why they survived.
And that might be part of the story that she's missing. That really explains why she's here today.
Yes.
Helen and her mother did survive, but Reva and her mother did not. They both died weeks after the Russians liberated the camp. Helen has never forgotten something Reva told her before she died.
She told me that she had a little brother. I don't know his name. Reva told me that he was given away to a non-Jewish family for safety reasons.
Many Jewish parents gave their children to Christian families in the hope that they would survive the Holocaust. Thousands of hidden children never saw their families again.
I know what happened to Reva, but I don't know what happened to her little brother. And I wonder about that. To this day, I have no idea if anybody survived to take him, claim him back. Where is he now and who raised him?
Here at Yad Vashem, there is a way to search for people who died in the Holocaust, and perhaps even trace any living relatives. Dr. Abraham is scouring the database of 4.8 million victims' names to see if there are any matches for Reva.
So we actually have one Rivka Rubin from Kovno. She was born in 1931. It is written that she died in the area of Stutthof. Let's go into details. So it's a page of testimony in Hebrew that was submitted in 1999.
Someone submitted this testimony about Reva and included a photo taken several years before the war.
The page of testimony was reported by one Elhanan Rubin, and he apparently is her brother, Rivka's brother.
Do you recognize this girl?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Do you recognize this woman?
Is there a name here? Rubinovich. Would that be, you're talking about Mrs. Rubin? Or you mean that this could be Reva? Oh my God, I'm not. This is, it's blowing me away. So this is my Reva. What a beautiful girl. She looks like she's a princess, beautiful, and not lacking for anything. I wish I'd known her before the war.
So we found Reva's brother.
Oh, what are you telling me here? Oh my God, how did you, what miracle, how is that? That the mother died and she died? Oh, would I like to meet this man? Oh my God.
Having lost her own brother to the Holocaust, Helen has wondered about Reva's little brother her entire life. Since he was a boy, this man has been searching for someone who knew his sister and has traveled from Israel for this moment. Now, after 75 years,
they knock in the door.
They finally get to meet.
Very nice to meet you.
Same here. Oh my God, this is like a dream. Yes. Yes, your mother and your sister upstairs in heaven are looking down, smiling.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
This is my son,
Hello.
Menachem.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you. I worried a lot about your father.
Coming all this way.
We'll be happy to hear all the stories.
Yes.
We don't have any information, so
No.
you're the last chance.
I'm the last. Yes. Does he deserve to know the whole story, how they died? There will be questions, very difficult questions.
Yannick is actually a hero. He did a very great thing. He saved a child. Just imagine.
Over 75 years ago, Maxwell's friend Yannick died after they rescued a baby during World War II. Maxwell has just found out that Yannick has a surviving uncle in Tel Aviv.
I didn't know that Yannick had any family left. I never knew. We never discussed it. But I'm very excited to meet anybody of Yannick's family.
The family don't know how Yannick died. Maxwell plans to tell them the truth.
By saving the baby, Yannick sacrificed himself. He became a hero in my eyes. I would like to tell that to his uncle.
So we're here.
We are here.
You're here, Maxwell. You've been waiting for this a long time, my husband. Here we are. Mary?
Hi, Mary. My God. Oh, my God. Was I happy when I saw you? Was I happy when I saw you? This is Yannick, sir?
Yes. Abba.
כן.
Maxwell פה, אבא.
Maxwell.
Twin nephew. Twin nephew.
Yannick.
Ja byłem razem z nim w lesie.
Gdzie?
Kto zapisał Janka w Yad Vashem?
Yannick ביד ושם מופיע.
Thank you.
Wyście byli razem i proszę nam opowiedzieć, jaki było.
Ja mu dałem jedzenie, ja mu dałem ubranie, ja mu wszystko dałem. Ja mu dałem,
Dziękuję.
a ja go znalazłem,
Dziękuję.
a ja go znalazłem.
Dziękuję. Dziękuję za to, co pan
Ja
zrobił
go
dla
znalazłem.
niego.
On chodził sam w lesie, on chciał jeść. On nie miał co jedzenia.
I miał z panem, miał z tobą dobry czas. Miał przyjaciela, miał opiekunka.
On był najlepsza rzecz, że Pan Bóg mi posłał. Najlepsza rzecz, because ja byłem sam.
Dlaczego on umarł?
On umarł, because że ja go zrobiłem, żeby umarł.
Ja.
Powiedział, on zamarł.
For the first time, Maxwell tells Yannick's aunt the story of how he died after saving the baby girl by the river.
To były końce Janka.
To przynajmniej była lekka śmierć.
I czemu? Because on poszedł do wody, zamarzniętą wodę ze mną i zratowaliśmy tą dziewczynkę. Ta dziewczynka jest Janka. Janek
ją urodził.
Robił życie. On
Tak. I want to show you. This is the picture of the family. Rosa, Rachel, mother of Yannick.
Yeah.
Her husband, Moshe Ehrenberg.
Yeah.
Heinek.
Yeah.
And Yannick.
All my life, I felt responsible for his death. I felt responsible for his death. I pulled them in. Maybe you don't understand.
Nie wolno ci tak myśleć. Nie wolno
Ja myślałem tak całe życie.
Nie wolno.
I should not think like that.
No. I am happy you are with us and telling us the story. For me, Yannick became alive. He is now part of my life.
As a person.
And he's
is with me from now. Before it was just a name, and now I feel
She's a human being.
yes. And
It's okay.
I am happy. I'm happy.
You're happy, and you're crying. You're happy, and I'm crying too. You're happy.
We were walking, my little brother, my mother, and I. It was a shining, beautiful day. And when they started walking on that road, she said, "That's the last day on earth, and I intend to take the sunshine in."
After being separated from her father, Rose, together with her mother and brothers and thousands of other women and children, were marched along this road. This is the first time Rose has ever been back.
You see, that's the road that I walked blessed with my mother and my two brothers. 3,000 people were walking, all of us together.
So all the children were walking.
The children were walking and the women were walking and carrying the bags.
And if they were kind of trying to step out of line, what would happen?
There were guards on both sides with guns.
Where do you think everyone was going?
To the train station. That was the road that was going to the nearest train station. There were 3,000 people on that road that day. That's what I remember about the crowd the most. People carrying those big bags, really thinking that they're going to be resettled somewhere else. My mother started holding back and holding back and holding back. She grabbed whatever I carried and threw it away. She looked me straight in the face. I want you to understand I was 13 years old at the time. And she said, "They're taking us to our death." That was her conclusion. She looked life straight in the face. She looked at me and she says, "You have to run. I can't run with you because I cannot leave that little boy alone. And with him, none of us have a chance. I don't believe the whole world has gone mad. There is going to be somebody somewhere that's going to help you. And you will survive. And if you survive, so will I, through you." You see, at first I didn't want to go. I was holding on to her skirt so tightly because I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave my mother or my brother. That's the last time I saw her. I didn't even say goodbye. She pushed me forcibly off the road.
I just think about, like, for me personally, my kids, and, like, I don't know how your mom had the strength to do that. And how you, as a child, like, were able to leave. Like,
No, she's my oldest granddaughter. And she looks a little like my mother. And that's when I started running through the fields. Never saw my mother again or my brother again. That was the last time I saw her.
Rose ran 15 kilometers to the house of the Jablonskis, Polish farmers who gave her refuge and a new identity.
And I slept the night on the attic. You could see through the holes. I remember looking out, hoping maybe my mother escaped too, and she's gonna come walking down that road.
But Rose's mother and brother were already being loaded onto boxcars at this station. As part of Operation Reinhardt, the Nazis had constructed extermination centers, away from centers of population and hidden far from prying eyes, deep in the forests of eastern Poland.
they went to Sobibór. On October the 14th, that's the day that 3,000 people wound up in Sobibór. That's how I know.
Rose is now following her mother's final journey to Sobibór.
They brought them in the wilderness. I wonder if there's a station. I don't know.
There's train tracks right there.
There is train tracks? Yeah. You see? So they must have brought them directly.
Oh my God. Look on the left. Looks like the train station, the old train station that says Sobibór.
There's a train station.
Give her a second.
And what do you know about Reva's family?
Precious little, except that this brother of hers was given away.
He doesn't know how they died.
He doesn't know how they died, eh? Should he not know it? What do you think?
Maybe he needs to. I don't know.
He needs to know, you think?
Very nice. That's like my sister.
Yes.
They're the same age. It's very, very nice.
Helen has just met Elchanan Rubin for the first time. He is the little brother of Reva, the friend she lost 75 years ago at Stutthof concentration camp. Elchanan was just 6 when his mother and sister left him with a Polish family before being deported to the camp.
In 1945, the war is over, and all the people have to come back. So nobody come to me.
Yeah, nobody come to claim you. I worried about that. I always thought, my goodness, I hope the father survived or relatives.
For my family, nobody survived. When my sister died, after
the liberation, yes.
And my mother?
And your mother died after her.
Also after her?
Yes, your sister died before your mother.
Yes.
Helen tells Elchanan about the lethal injections given by the Nazis.
I got a needle here.
And the lack of medical attention for weeks after they were liberated by the Russians.
No doctor or something that can help them?
Nobody.
You were near Reva when she died?
Yes, I was. And I watched her. There was this is the painful thing. This is the painful, and I understand how they came to pick up the body of Reva. She was put into a horse and buggy.
My mind is...
I'm sorry.
No.
They moved her away to a cemetery somewhere. And where she's buried, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Helen's grandson Andrew has driven to a small town 2 hours south of Stutthof. He is looking for the place where Russian soldiers housed Helen and Reva after their liberation.
My grandmother described it as a school building. The archivist at Stutthof told me about this town, and this building fits the description of the school that my grandmother has told me about. So this really could be it. This could be the school that my grandmother and Reva were laying down next to each other for maybe a month, talking to each other about their little brothers, and their stories, and ultimately where Reva passed away, right next to my grandmother. And I know that my grandmother has mentioned that there's a horse and buggy that picks up Reva's dead body and brings her to a cemetery. And just across the street, there is a cemetery, and it's very possible that this could be the place where Reva was brought to. I don't think that they would have given a marker to a Jewish girl in 1945 in a cemetery like this. But, I mean, if this is her resting place, I think my grandmother will take comfort in knowing that I've come here and I'm paying respect for her on her behalf.
The baby is important because the baby carries a guilt in me, carries a terrible guilt that Janek died because of me pulling him into that water and for nothing. And if this baby is alive, it would just clear my conscience that he didn't die for nothing. He died for something. He's a hero.
So this is the place that you
Potem-
mentioned in your testimony.
Where's Buchach?
Buchach is...
Maxwell is meeting with Holocaust investigator Natasha Niedzielska. She has spent weeks scouring maps, uncovering documents, and chasing testimonies in search of the baby that Maxwell and Janek saved in 1943.
That was quite a challenging task, because we didn't know at all the identity of people who were in hiding. We didn't know the name of the baby. We didn't even know whether there is a chance that this girl survived the war. We had only question marks. I tried to reconstruct what was going on in the area and try to identify the group. I found 2 girls that survived the war, so they were hiding also somewhere on a riverbank. One of them wrote a book with her own memories because she was 6 at the time. She recalled the description of the death of her mother. She managed to escape and cross the river, yet her mother stayed in the river with her sister.
You mean it's a possibility?
I think there is a possibility there are some details that are really similar in your story and they really match your description. That sister's testimony.
I'm telling you, I have a feeling. I have a feeling. She's the girl. She's the girl. I feel she is the girl.
For sure, she was in the same time, in the same forest. And her story is very similar to the story that you have. Would you possibly like to meet her?
I don't know if I can.
She has a memory loss, and it's impossible to communicate with her. But her family knows. They heard that you were arriving to Israel.
It is the best news in the world that you know what it means to me that the baby is alive. It means everything to me. It means freedom. It means I'm not guilty. I did save a life. I just imagine seeing her. Will I break down and walk away? Or will I break down and stay there?
My little brother, his name was Henik, and he was such a lovely, beautiful young boy. And I loved him with all my heart and soul. My brother was 6 when he was taken to Sobibór.
Deep in the forest of Poland, on the border of modern Belarus, Sobibór was one of the most remote and secretive of all Holocaust killing sites. It was razed to the ground by the Nazis in late 1943 to destroy any evidence. But there are remnants of the horrific war crimes committed here.
Bo to jest historyczne miejsce w zasadzie jedno, które zostało do chwili obecnej w oryginale, ten kozioł oporowy. Tu przed tym szlabanem zatrzymywały się pociągi, które przywoziły tutaj ludzi. Były przemówienia jednego z SS-manów, który przepraszał za niedogodności podróży, opowiadał o tym, że tutaj będą budowane miasta, w tych miastach powstaną fabryki, gdzie ci ludzie będą pracować na potrzeby III Rzeszy i będą mogli przeżyć wojnę.
A rare photograph exists of Sobibór when it was operational. Dating from 1942, it shows the station where Rose's mother and younger brother disembarked from the boxcar.
Rzeczy wartościowe, osobiste kazał deponować w specjalnym kiosku.
Anything that was of value, he told them to put it away, so I guess they can take
Wydawano specjalne pokwitowania.
ticket that the goods that they put away.
Tym
Oh,
samym
they're giving them, they're saying you're gonna get
Yeah,
it back?
you're gonna get it back.
The Nazis had no intention of giving any of it back. Instead, jewelry was melted down and clothing redistributed to Germans. The Holocaust was entirely self-financed.
Po tym całych przemówieniach ci ludzie się rozbierali i nago przechodzili na teren obozu trzeciego.
So here they told them to undress, and they told them to walk there.
77 years after her mother and younger brother walked this path, Rose, who is in search of what happened to them, must now do the same.
I took it upon myself to tell Reva's story because it could have been me in reverse.
This is
Reva.
This is Reva.
Helen has finally met the little boy she's wondered about her entire life. The brother of her friend who died beside her after liberation from a concentration camp.
Yeah, Reva told me that she has a little brother that was given away to the Christians. And it made a big impression on me. She told me that because I had a young brother that was taken away from the Kinderaktion.
Your brother?
My brother, yes. I had a little brother was taken away in the Kinderaktion.
My grandmother and Reva probably thought that their brothers would not have survived the Holocaust. I think it'll be closure for my grandmother to know that Reva's little brother survived. That's going to make her incredibly grateful to have known that this boy existed, because perhaps she can see her own brother in him.
Helen and Reva were the same age. So were their little brothers. These two kids from Kovno had never met before today, but their stories are forever intertwined.
The Hebrew alphabet.
ABC, Hebrew ABC. But it is to meet you. How can I describe it? I couldn't picture it in my wildest dreams. I can tell you that what I feel for you. I feel for you a piece from my sister. Like I see my sister. And I'm very happy that I met you.
Well, one thing I'm sure, the Jew of yesterday does not exist today. Nobody is gonna walk and let them kill us like that. Never again. This much I know.
"77 years ago, Rose's mother and younger brother, Henryk, walked along a narrow path through the woods at Sobibór.
Niemcy nazywali tą drogę Himmelfahrtstraße.
Himmelstraße, a road to heaven. Who called it that? The
Nazi.
Germans.
The Germans. The Germans called this road to heaven.
Nothing now remains of the path walked by Rose's mother. It was designed deliberately to curve through the camp, so she couldn't have seen where it was leading. It was made of gravel, lined on either side with barbed wire, and was camouflaged with pine branches, hiding it from view. At the end of this path were 4 gas chambers.
That's a sort of a hard thing for me to think about and imagine. But I can just see her holding the child in her arms and thinking that she cheated them of one. Me. You have to understand, if Hitler had his way, I would have died right here. And if my mother wasn't the woman that she was, with the wisdom and knowledge and love, if she wouldn't have pushed me off the road, I would have been buried with everybody here, and you would have never existed. I'm so glad that I brought you here. Just that my mother can know, I don't know how, that we are alive and that I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren and that we lived through all of that. Oh my God, if there is a God, maybe she'll know.
Nine mass graves were discovered at Sobibór, which now are covered by a field of memorial stones.
My dear Mom, dear Henrik, the beautiful little boy that I love so much. He might have still been alive.
Rose has one last task to perform on her journey: to say Kaddish, the Hebrew prayer of mourning.
Oseh shalom bimrumav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Israel, ve'imru, amen.
Can we say their names, Bobby? Yeah.
Deborah, Henrik, and Izzy Handelsman, who died here. Laser Handelsman, who died in Majdanek. And all my other relatives, including my grandmother Tema, and all my uncles and aunts, and all my little cousins that I loved so much. They're all gone. Let's hope the world has learned its lessons, that it should never, ever happen again.
It entered my mind like in a far dream. Is it possible, really, that one day I'm going to meet her face to face, the little baby?
Maxwell is heading to Haifa in Israel to meet survivor Tova Barkai. He hasn't seen her in 76 years. She was a tiny little girl when he and his friend Yannick saved her from her dead mother's arms.
That's good, because
Tova's family doesn't know the truth about how she survived the massacre by the river.
Hello. Hello. I introduce to you Maxwell's Mar. This is
I'm
Oliver.
this is the descendants.
Yeah.
That's nice to see a descendant of somebody that I saved. I was always wondering what happened to your mother.
Yeah.
All my life. She wasn't a good baby, your mother. She cried all the time.
She's a survivor.
You recognize me?
Try in Yiddish.
I saved you. You was lucky. You was very lucky. Du verstehst Yiddish?
Oh, she knows Yiddish, but she can't speak. She can't find the words.
Do you remember the river? how freezing the water was, how the two children, the two boys came and saved you, how they came, went into the water and took you out from the arms of your mother.
You owe him your life.
Ik ben de one who zat er geraten werd van Hitler. Die bist gewesen een kleine baby. She knows me. She knows me. She's touching my hand. She's look.
She said that it will be good. Everything will be good. It's okay. She says it's okay.
I feel better. And I don't feel as guilty. It's true. Yannick died. He's a hero. He saved you, and you have children, a family. They will have children and children and children, a continuation of life forever. Young children. This is nice stuff.
It's better to hug them.
Sure. Look at that.
We'll be seeing
you.
You.
Want to give me a hug?
Somehow we'll be seeing you.
I'm an old man who wants to hug an old man.
Someone that owes his life to you.
Thank you very much.
Baba, I can't believe that you're using a cell phone.
How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good, how are you? Here.
I can barely make out what you're saying.
That's okay. Just hold the phone like that, and this way you can see that your face isn't cut off, right? Like,
right, my face is right there.
no, but your mouth is cut off. Yeah, so I
My
just...
chin is the... Yeah, my chin.
No, Baba, all you have to do is fix how you're holding. There we go.